series on House. Powerhouse Women series features outstanding women in their field, in the arts, in broadcast journalism, in culinary arts, and in sports. Our featured guest today, Maryann Okon from Laos, Nigeria. Maryann Okon is a news producer and broadcaster with over 16 years of experience in content creation, production, voiceover, reporting, newscasting, presentation on local and international series. Maryann has worked as the head of the political desk at Plus TV Africa, a news station, and the head of presentation at Nigeria Info Port Harcourt, a talk radio station where she championed and reported on Stop the Shoot, an air pollution disaster from 2017 to 2018, which was caused by illegal crude oil mining. Maryann also started an investigation on police brutality and the SARS killing in Port Harcourt. Maryann Okon, a proud alumnus of New York Film Academy, where she studied broadcast journalism, and a graduate of the University of Calabar with a bachelor's degree in linguistics and communication. I believe with my experience and educational background, I bring value to the team by ensuring the production of quality content and reportage of the news in accordance with best practice. Hello and welcome, live viewers and replay viewers. Thank you for joining me on my first episode of the broadcast series Powerhouse Women. Today, I'm extremely excited. Joining us from Laos, Nigeria, HAP's own top journalist, TV Africa presenter, and producer, Maryann Okon.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining. And I really do appreciate you taking the time with your busy schedule. And I, this is just such a thrill. Uh, in addition to the introduction, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, well, what's to know? I'm the first of two kids to my parents. My mom is from a different country. She's from Sierra Leone. It's a West African country, also like Nigeria. And my dad is Nigerian. I have a brother who's 6 years younger than I am. When I'm not working, I travel. I like to visit historical sites. I like to get to find out about cultures and food. I like food, so I do a lot of food tourism. So yeah, that's basically it.
Oh, food. And really, we'll get along perfectly. I love to eat.
Oh, cook. So I cook.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Thank you, Maryann. So really quick, hello, Mark, CEO of Habs. Thank you so much for joining and thank you for the Super Heart Award. Hello, Melanie, and hello, Heavenly Jew. Thank you so much for joining. Just really quick, for those who would like to ask Maryann a question during the broadcast, I will be noting them down and ask her after the commercial break. Thank you for joining. And Maryann, I have been watching a lot of your broadcasts, and my favorite part is the end of the show segment, My Take. And as you know, we in the US just went through having a president that referred to the press and news media as the enemy of the people. Former President Donald Trump encouraged his supporters to harass, physically harm, and bully reporters that had written pieces critical of his administration or himself. I would like to have your take on this subject.
Well, it's quite unfortunate for the president to feel that way. I mean, obviously, a lot of people do not realize how important the media is, how important the press is. President Donald Trump has forgotten that that same press was not his enemy before he became president of the United States of America. He rode on the wings of those people to become president. All of a sudden, these people have become the enemy. I think that President Trump was not necessarily ready for being a president, because presidents are not people who are liked. The only person who's liked is the man who sells ice cream from the ice cream truck, and he probably wasn't ready for the critique that was going to come from both sides of the divide. He actually supported one side of the divide, and only his supporters who saw no wrong in what he did. But I'll tell you what that did to not just us, the press in the US, but also the press around the world. Everybody looks to the United States as the poster child for democracy. And when things like this happen, when you have a president that is against the press, and then if you're talking about a democracy, there's nothing like a democracy without the freedom of the press, and freedom of speech is very important. What President Donald Trump did was make a mess or somewhat ridicule what America's democracy around the world looked like before now. But thank goodness this elections that just ended, which brought to power President Joe Biden, helped America, even though, you know, it's dented America's image with the Capitol being invaded and all of that. But it's great that Americans stood up and fought for their democracy. And today it seems to be back on track, even though a bit shaky. But former President Donald Trump, did a big number on America's democracy, unfortunately.
How are media journalists treated in your nation when pieces such as very critical of the party in power are published?
Well, Nigeria also has what we call a nascent democracy. It's not necessarily as strong as what you have in the US or in the UK. There is some level of freedom in the press, but for those who followed what happened October last year, when we had the protest against a rogue police unit, which is called the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, not the disease. A lot of young people had to hit the streets of Lagos, Abuja, across the country to protest. It didn't go down well because mainstream media, most of mainstream media in Nigeria is owned by politicians or government, and then a few individuals. So sometimes, most times, the narrative is a bit skewed, but then there's a level playing field, and sometimes the audience is allowed to choose a side or decide what they want to believe. Unfortunately, I cannot really say that we have freedom of the press per se, because half the time the Broadcasting Commission, which is the regulatory body of media houses in Nigeria, often, you know, does the bidding of the government in power, be it the PDP or the APC, and those are the major political parties in Nigeria. So it makes it difficult for an average journalist to do their job or to stay the cause in journalism. It makes it very difficult for them to tell the truth per se without it being affected by the government in power. Half the time, most of these people who decide that they're going to tell the truth always, you know, either get dragged to jail, questioned by the DSS, which is the Secret Service in the US. They call them the DSS in Nigeria. And sometimes they lose their jobs. Sometimes they have to be dropped because their company might not be able to pay fines that are given to their companies because somebody told the truth, or somebody. Investigative journalism or telling the truth in Nigeria can be dicey. It's tough, but half the time we're allowed to tell these stories, not necessarily outrightly, but you find a way, around it.
In terms of religion within the country, does it, how much, I'm just asking regarding, because in Philippines, the Pope has this huge influence on Philippines, the country itself. And right now, the president is not too fond of the intermingling and having to listen to the most highest power of in the papacy. So I was just wondering, how about your country? Does it have that much say religion?
Well, Nigeria is a very religious country. As much as we'd like to say it's well, Nigeria is divided into two. You have the Muslims and you have the Christians. Then there are the tiny minority of traditionalists, but then the bigger religions are Christian and Muslim. And half the time, anytime we're discussing politics or governance or social issues, people look at those issues through the prism of religion and ethnicity, which also is one of the major issues that we have in the country, because there is an uprising of sorts. There is kidnapping and killings in the northeast and in the north central, and even in the southwest right now. We're dealing with issues of cattle rearers and herders, um, asking for green land for them to, rear their cows. And these people are mostly, in such cases, Fulanese are Muslims. So if a particular place says, oh, we can't have these guys coming into our area if they do not have land that they are supposed to graze on, if their cattle cannot graze on lands that have been paid for or bought by their monies, they cannot just be roaming our streets. Then the people in the north say, oh, you hate the people in the north. So this is an anti-Fulani. So Nigeria generally has issues of ethnicity and religion. It's a big problem. Before they actually say, oh, I'm Nigerian, they start by saying, oh, I'm from the north, or I'm from the east, or I'm from the south, or I'm Christian, you're Muslim, and that's why you don't like me. So we have those issues, and they're underlying issues, and they affect everything that we, have to address, whether it's education, whether it's politics, whether it's governance, leadership. Everything is actually, has that underlying issue of religion and politics. But the presidency tries as much as possible not to allow that to, be a problem in judging issues. The president will always try as much as possible to make it look like we're all on the same level playing field. So we call Nigeria a secular nation, even though we know that we have problems, that run across ethnicity and religion.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that. Really quick, I would like to present on screen. Good evening, sir and Maryann. Chidera Emanuela Onyeka. I am Childera Emanuela Onyeka, connecting from Port Harcourt. I am a teen's personal development coach. Great work. Awesome. Thank you
You
so much, Mark.
tried.
Oh, I'm sorry. It got a little glitchy. What did you say?
Yeah, you got the Chidera name really well. You sounded really Nigerian there.
My tongue in Filipino, I'm able to say other languages and dialects a little easier. um,
Great.
Mark, thank you. Chantal, thank you so much for being here and for the interview award, and as well as the hearts and comments. At this moment, I would like to take you on a short commercial break. We will be back in 1 minute. Thank you so much.
It's time for my take. Nigerians have taken to social media to lambast the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission for allowing children to vote in the local government elections that took place in the state on Saturday. Let's get involved. Let's assume the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Show them that they are here to serve us and not the other way around. The time to act is now. Ask the right questions. Keep every politician on his toes. Say no to lip service and say yes to accountability. You have a right as a Nigerian to live anywhere in this country, but every state has rules and regulations that you must abide by. Now, if you break those rules, be ready to face the music. Enough is enough. Let's learn to do the right things. Do things right. I am Maryann Okon, thanking you for watching.
Oh, wow.
Hello, hello. uh, Thank you so much for uh, s- staying with us at this moment. I would like to thank everyone for joining us live. And if you have any questions, any audience, live viewers, but in case if Marianne cannot answer your question on this broadcast, definitely she will reply at her earliest convenience later on within the same chat. Uh, okay. While we are waiting for questions, I am just curious on the type of foods that you love to eat here in the United States.
Oh, in the United States. So I love this type of cheese that I love. I can't remember the name, but I love it on um well, a little bit of I like a little bit of pasta. I used to have this nice place on up on Wall Street that I used to go have lunch from my school. They had like the best pasta. And then my second best thing is wings. I'm black, so I like wings. I love wings. um, and then I tried lasagna for the first time, and I didn't really like it. Yeah, I didn't really like
I think it's the main
it.
ingredient is the sauce.
Maybe, but I mean, it just didn't sit well. I had always dreamt of how I was going to have a lasagna for the first time,
uh,
but it just didn't work. And then I went to the South. I tell you what, I was in Alabama in 2019, and I had this really nice thing. And I thought to myself, what could this be? So I asked the lady who served us, and she called them biscuits. So they're like biscuits that you serve with some nice soup. Really cool from the South. Love it.
wow. Ooh, I'm hungry for lunch already. We have a couple of questions. First from Heavenly Dew and Mark. The first question, let me present on screen. Heavenly Dew, hello, Marianne. I have watched a couple of your great broadcasts. Who has the best jollof rice, Ghana or Nigeria?
Oh, come on. I'm going to be biased. It's Nigeria, but I have seen and tasted Ghana jollof. And sorry, my Ghanaian friends, Nigerian jollof is the best. The best. Yeah, the best.
Got it. And so we have Mark. Marianne, what are the most important issues that you are following in Africa these days, especially the ones impacting women?
Oh, well, important issues, one side, impacting women on the other side. I'll start with the important issues. For those who follow my broadcast on HAPS, I go to different African countries, every week to discuss either politics or governance or matters arising. And the most common denominator in all of these African countries is bad governance. It's bad leadership. It's either there's some form of tyranny or autocratic governance, and people are not allowed to have their say. And we've seen this happen in so many countries. We've seen this happen in elections, even in countries like Ghana, that you'd expect that they had grown their democracy to a certain extent. We saw what happened in the parliament during the election. Somebody grabbed the ballot boxes and headed for the doors. And this is also detail for what's happening in the Gambia. The man who sits as the president in the Gambia is a man that took over from a guy who was a tyrant, and he gave the people of Gambia so much hope that he was going to be a better leader. But what do we see? We see him replicating almost the same thing that his predecessor did. um, he made so many promises to reconcile warring factions, and that didn't happen. As we speak, he promised that he was going to do just an interim term and then step aside for proper elections to happen. He did not do that. Now he's trying to get ready for to run for another election so he can sit there for another 5 years, which is also a problem that we see in the rest of Africa. Most of these presidents want to stay there and be presidents for life. Now, talking about women, in Namibia, there's something called a femicide. Women are being killed, women are being maimed, and nothing is really being done. And so the women have hit the streets and they're protesting. Hopefully, sometime this month, if not next month, we will go to Namibia so we can actually talk to journalists in the country to find out what's happening. And of course, COVID-19 is also a serious issue. For countries that are facing humanitarian crisis, we're talking about countries like um, we're talking about Sudan, we're talking about the Congo, we're looking at countries like Burkina Faso, who's having not just a food crisis, they're also having a humanitarian crisis, they have insecurity. It's really tough to deal with all of those things and deal with a pandemic that you've never ever experienced before. So they have a lot on their plates. But the most common issue is that there's so much uprising within Africa. I remember the Congo. Children are being used as child slaves in mines, and these mines are producing. These miners are taking those raw products and they're using it to create phones, our mobile phones, our iPhones, and our laptops. But then a child dies every day as a result of the fact that you and I can get an iPhone, and nobody's really looking into those issues. So Africa has so many issues that need to be addressed, even though we're dealing with a pandemic. But people are dying every day. Children are going hungry. More and more children are dying from hunger, from starvation. Some of these children have nowhere to stay. It's a lot. It's it's a lot to deal with. And one of my hopes is that this year, with the pandemic, dying down, with the vaccines that are coming, hopefully I can travel around Africa. I hope I can get the sponsorship if I need to, just tell these stories up close and personal.
Wow. It's very deep. It's very, oh my goodness. Um, Thank you for that answer. At this point, I know we are a little bit in short of time because I know you have to broadcast soon. I would like to display your social, and here are Maryann's social media. Please do give her a follow on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I will be typing the links on the chat after this broadcast. I see that we have one question from Heavenly Dew. How do you see Nigerian women impacting legislative change?
Well, I want to start by saying that thank goodness there's a Kamala Harris in the White House now. Thank goodness again, the poster child for democracy in the world, which is the US, has now decided that it's time to have a woman be a vice president. And hopefully we can have a woman president. But in Nigeria, we're yet to get there. We have had a female House of Representatives speaker before, but she didn't last. We've had a handful of women in the legislature, but I think we need more women. More women need to step into those roles. Again, it is not necessarily just the women's problems, but it's a societal problem, because in Africa in general, women are supposed to be seen and not heard. Women are supposed to be occupying a certain part of the house, which is either the bedroom or the kitchen. But all of that narrative has changed because women are now stepping up to the plate. Women are now leading. They're now captains of industries. They're now heads of government parastatals and companies. They're entrepreneurs. They're powerhouses. And these women are also using that voice that they have to say, look, we need better people in our positions of leadership. We've allowed the men to rule. We've allowed the men to lead, and look at the chaos that we found ourselves in. Maybe it's time for the women to step up to the plate. But then there's also society dragging them back and saying, oh, you cannot be seen as a political meeting as a woman. Why are you dressed that way? Does your husband know that you're here? So women in Nigeria are still battling with all of those societal problems. But the moment we can break from those things and begin to take our place and not wait for the men to give us an opportunity, but take our place, because the place is ours. You can actually take it, but don't wait for the men, because men will always line up behind themselves and support themselves. Women also have to learn how to rally around each other. I always say, I'm not a feminist, but I support every woman who wants to take power, who wants to lead, who wants to guide. I'm in total support of women. But if we were all treating each other as we want to be treated, we probably would not need all these labels of feminism or humanist and all of these things. So women are the biggest problem of women. If women begin to support each other, then the sky is just going to be a starting point for us. So the same thing for Nigeria. When Nigerian women begin to see the value of every other Nigerian, support them, hey, way to go for us.
Well, I totally agree. I just want to share real quick with you, all of my role models in life always have been women, only women, since I was a child. I know Wonder Woman, she was a fictional character on television, but you get my drift. And on that note, that thank you so much for sharing that with us. Uh, Live viewers and replay viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Maryann, I really appreciate you taking the time and speaking with me today and sharing this moment and episode. My very first Powerhouse Women, feature. I'm just so excited. Thank you again so much, and we look forward to watching you more on your YouTube channel and everything else on Instagram. Thank you. Really much appreciated.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
Thank
so
you.
much fun.
Take
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics. Thus, politics will feel the pulse of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story. Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.